What is up guys, so today we're going to be doing an ancient gear deck profile. This was also one of those deck profiles where I just haven't done anything for it for a very long time now, and so I wanted to kind of bring it back and give it that spotlight again. So without further ado, let's get started. So to begin with monsters, we're playing two copies here of Reactor Dragon. It's our main boss monster and it's just a really amazing card, so I honestly can't really explain anything else other than why I'm not playing 3, and the only reason I'm not playing 3 is because I kind of wanted to add more space in for the other cards, which I felt was still viable but at the same time added a bit more variety and fun to it. So that would be the Ancient Gear Gadgetron Dragon. It's a very simple card that can easily be summoned out using Gear Town as well. So because of that, Gadgetron Dragon just adds that bit of nostalgia to my I guess my inner Yu-Gi-Oh player, and because of that it just felt right to play at least one of them. And of course I'm also playing one copy here of Ancient Gear Golem. This one is unfortunately unable to be summoned via Gear Town, however it can still be summoned out via Catapult, and with that being said, it does have the piercing, which is absolutely amazing, and also it's unaffected by the spells and traps anyway, or rather your opponent can't activate it during the battle phase, making it incredibly difficult for them to actually deal with this. And again, it was one of those monsters that I felt needed to be in the deck. It's kind of almost the mascot of the deck itself, so without an Ancient Gear Golem it just felt really wrong. One day I'll get the ultimate rare for it, but for the time being I guess I'll just have to deal with the common. Moving on, we're playing 3 copies here of Ancient Gear Wyvern. Wyvern's your main searcher. I honestly can't really say much else for it. It's absolutely amazing and I think it's a staple in the deck. As well as Hunting Hound. Hunting Hound is the main card which we use to fusion summon for a lot of our monsters. It's incredibly easy, and you also have that extra like summon effect where you get to deal 600 damage to your opponent, so I honestly cannot complain there. The only downside is if it gets negated then it kind of just sits there, so that's quite unfortunate. However, Ancient Gears are a fusion deck, so we do actually have cards that help us fusion summon, particularly the spell support. Moving on, we're playing 2 copies here of Gearbox as well as 2 copies here of Gadget. I felt that this in itself is an engine on its own, so whatever you play you kind of follow through with the other one as well, and you wouldn't play a deck with just Gear alone, Gearbox alone. You wouldn't just play a deck with just Gear Gadget alone. They kind of just have to be a pair together. So you could actually just remove the engine and put in something else. For example, you want to put in like a Cyframe Gamma engine, then by all means go ahead. That actually could work in this deck. However, this itself is just allowing you to just get more materials to your hand so that you could actually go for your fusion summons for your big fusion monsters. Of course, we can't forget about Gear Frame as well. The unfortunate thing is that because I still don't have Ancient Gear Fusion, Gear Frame is kind of just the card that I have to deal with right now at 1. If I had Ancient Gear Fusion in the deck, then I would probably bump this up to 2 copies, but for the time being I am trying to build this deck without the Ancient Gear Fusions, simply because I still have to get my hands on them. Moving on, we're playing here 2 gold gadgets and we're also playing 2 silver gadgets. Again, similar scenario, both of these cards kind of work hand in hand together, so you can't really play one without the other. And because of that, 2 copies of each definitely helps. Obviously it summons out additional monsters, allowing you to potentially even go for your XCs plays as well, but keep in mind when one's destroyed it floats into the other, so you can keep floating, and it is definitely very nice there. Next, of course, I wanted to also incorporate the trains. I felt that they were really fun, so 2 copies here of Bullet Train, 2 copies here of Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede. Just good ways to bring out these monsters really easily, either acting as a wall or going for further XCs plays, which makes it incredibly fun to go with here. And some of the XCs monsters are definitely just really great. The thing is this, if you're playing just a pure Ancient Gear deck without the Ancient Gear fusions, you're kind of being set back a bit, so I feel like adding in this as a supplementary engine or an alternative engine to Ancient Gear Fusion, it definitely helps out a lot for the deck, and it keeps your deck at an efficient rate, meaning you could constantly do something at least with your hand. You know, these cards kind of extend those plays, whereas if you don't have these cards and you don't have the Ancient Gear Fusions in your deck, you're kind of just dealing with this situation where you have a bunch of dead cards in hand. On to spells, we're playing 3 copies here of Ancient Gear Catapult. Catapult is the main card that summons pretty much anything from the deck. There's nothing else to be said about it, it's absolutely amazing. Play 3 of them. We're also playing just 2 copies here of Fortress. I thought about playing 3, but I felt like it didn't really do as much as Catapult because it has its own restrictions which prevent it from summoning certain creatures or certain monsters, of course. But yeah, 2 copies of this, absolutely amazing. Either summon from the hand or the grave, whereas Catapult kind of has that bigger versatility to summon from the deck. At the same time, I wanted to keep the deck at a minimum at 40, so it just felt that this was better at 2. Now, if you guys actually felt inclined to play 3 of those, you could actually add in a 3rd copy and take out 1 copy of Gear Town, but I felt that Gear Town was kind of the better option here. I just preferred to play Gear Town simply because as a field spell, it added more versatility for the deck, allowing you to also go for a tribute summon with 1 less tribute. Just really amazing, helps out the deck quite a bit here, and when you put it in the field spell zone, I don't know, I just think it frees the space in your spell and trap zone. Now, what am I playing that is considered an alternate to Ancient Gear Fusion? Well, I'm playing Overload Fusion and I'm also playing Power Bond. Both these cards help me go into, I guess, a big OTK finisher, but the problem is these cards have their own flaws, and if you don't win with Power Bond, you're going to be taking quite a big cost. Overload Fusion, kind of the same thing, you're just getting rid of a bunch of resources and it's really risky, both these cards. So if you can get Ancient Gear Fusion, definitely use them, you know, they're really amazing. I just got to buy myself some of the, you know, either I buy singles or I buy the actual set that's been reprinted in, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know why my luck is so bad. I really need Ancient Gear Fusion. I just need 2 copies, and yeah, that's what I'd play if I actually had them. You're playing a deck with a bunch of big monsters, you gotta play Reasoning. It's absolutely mandatory. We also are playing Monster Reborn as well, summons easily from the graveyard. It's just, you know, I mean, why would you not play these? I mean, they just work so well. You have so many big boss monsters that summon out really easily here. And speaking of which, we're also playing Gear Town, meaning, you know, you get 1 less tributes. It makes it quite interesting for you to actually bring this back, plus I guess like using Gear Town itself, you can then go for one of your big monsters from the hand, which is really helpful. Of course, to deal with certain monster effects, we're also playing the Caught by the Grave and the Mind Control. Both cards still really great. Keep in mind, whatever you steal of Mind Control, you can't actually tribute for the tribute summon. However, what you can do with Mind Control is use their monsters to go for an XE summon, and I think that is what's the main point of this card. You know, it really helps out, and also clears the opponent's board, allowing you to go for an OTK. It could also force your opponent to negate. Now, because we're actually playing the trains in the deck, we're also playing the 1 copy of Urgent Schedule. You know, it's not really the most crucial card in the deck, but it definitely starts you off and it's quite a fun card. Would I play a 2nd copy of this? I wouldn't really advise it. There's honestly no point into playing this card. I could easily just sell this card off and buy myself 2 copies of Ancient Gear Fusion, but the problem is I just can't find Ancient Gear Fusion, so if I could find it, I would easily just trade this off and I would be able to get both of them. And yeah, it's just, this card is quite pricey, but you know, the fact that I have it, I'm just going to use it in the deck. To finish things off, we're playing the Upstart Goblin, just a great card to deck thin, and honestly, might as well just include the trap card as well. It's the only trap card I'm playing in the deck, and that is Cross Dimensional Duel. This card is more so just a fun card to, I guess, well, it's not really all that fun. You could also use it as a protection purpose as well, so not too bad of an option, but it's just something I wanted to add in because it felt like, I don't know, it just had that nice homage to the actual series itself in the anime when this particular scene was happening. Alright, so onto the extra deck. We finally actually have the Ancient Gear Ballista. Very happy about this. Recently got it like, I don't know, less than a week ago. So yeah, really happy about this. This is the card I've been looking for. I am planning on going for a second copy as well. That would be nice to add a bit more relevancy with this particular card, but for the time being I'm just really stunned that I even have one copy of it. Of course, we're playing 2 copies here of Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. It's a really fun card to go into, really cool. This is actually an ultimate rare that I got off Anders or Raphael's reviews, so if you guys haven't checked out his channel, definitely go check him out. But he sold this off to me, and you know, it's a bit beat up, so I got a pretty good deal out of it. But yeah, it's a really cool card here. Hopefully I can bump the other one to another ulti as well. I would like to have a whole playset of these in ultis, and yeah, that'd just be really fun to have. For the other main big boss monster, we're also playing 2 copies here of Chaos Ancient Gear Giant. This card is usually the one I want to go for when I use Hunting Hound's effect to fusion summon, so requires 4 materials, but it's pretty much this unstoppable boss monster that will ultimately win you the games. We're also playing 2 copies here of Megaton Golem, and we're playing 2 copies here of Howitzer. These cards, I wouldn't really push it to play 3 copies of. It's completely unnecessary. You're just clogging up the deck, and you could play a lot more utility cards, and 2 copies of each of these, it's really the way to go with this particular deck. There's no way you're going into all 3 in one game unless one of them is a staple, but none of them really are. They're really just small assets to help you OTK your opponent, but some games it is possible to easily just win with your main deck alone. To conclude with this deck, we're playing the Gear Gigant X, we're playing number 59, Crooked Cook, and we're playing 2 copies here of Heavy Armored Train Iron Wolf. These are those utility cards that help out. Gear Gigant X allows you to detach, search for whatever you want, but also acting as a beat stick. Crooked Cook allows you to pretty much chain and destroy whatever face-up spell traps you actually have on the field. So you destroy your fortress, you destroy your gear town, then you get to summon a bunch of things. And Crooked Cook is also the only card that actually stays on the field as well, so it makes for really fun interactions to go on here. And with the Heavy Armored Train Iron Wolf, it's just allowing one of your cards to attack directly and go for game, so really amazing card here. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this deck. It's a really fun deck to play, but at the same time I'd compare it to Cyber Dragons, or I would compare it to Crystal Beasts, right? Like, these particular decks are not the most meta relevant decks, but because of their OTK potential, they could finish off any player out there, both meta or casual, in just one turn if they get the right cards. So it's a hit or miss, but yeah, that's what brings the fun out of it. And this is a deck that I see myself actually playing for a really long time. So yeah, this is just a really amazing deck. I can't emphasize that enough, but I hope you guys actually enjoyed this deck profile. I will be making a test hand for this, so stay tuned for that. But if you like this video, give it a like, and also share it with anyone who might be interested in this. Also subscribe for more videos like this, and in the meantime, I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.